I know this video is coming a little too late, but let me explain my reasons with a few disclaimers. I'm not gonna lie, even though you only have to stitch a bunch of pieces together, this project takes time and it may even check your patience. But look at the outcome. It's so cute and absolutely worth it. As you can see, this is a 3D shape and the size is about 4 inches. Now the big question is what we're gonna call it, a soccer ball or a football. There is absolutely no need to argue now, and let's get started. Starting with the materials and tools, our main material will be felt, and I went with colors for the 2026 World Cup theme. Then you'll need an embroidery thread, a hand needle, a pair of scissors and some fiber fill for the stuffing. Finally, you will need the pattern for this project and it's free to download. You can make your own pattern in any size. You only need a regular hexagon and a regular pentagon. Regular means that the geometric shape has equal sides and equal angles. Now when it comes to this pattern, both hexagon and pentagon also should share the same length for their sides, so they can align with each other. Next, let me show you how to cut felt pieces using the pattern. You can hold the pattern onto the felt and then carefully cut around it. You can even use a pin or a fabric marking pen if you feel more comfortable that way. Another thing you need to remember is we are gonna need 20 pieces from the hexagon and 12 from the pentagon. It'll be a total of 32 pieces. So if you can, try to place 2 or 3 felt layers together and then cut around at once. It'll be less time consuming. Pick any method you feel more comfortable with, and if you need more on that, please make sure to check out our tutorial on that topic. As you now have a basic idea on how to cut felt pieces, let's start with the project. I have already cut mine and I got 20 hexagon pieces in white color. For the pentagons, I needed 12 pieces and I mixed things up by cutting 4 in red, 4 in blue and 4 in green to go with the 2026 theme. It's totally up to you, and you can even go with the regular colors black and white. Now this is how we are gonna go forward with the project. First we stitch one half of the ball separately and then the other half. After that we'll join the two halves together. For one half you'll need half of your hexagons, which is 10 pieces, and half of the pentagons, which is 6 pieces. Because I used different colors for the pentagons, I'm taking 2 from blue, 2 from red and 2 from green for the one half of the ball. Now that will totally depend on how you pick the colors. The only thing you need to understand is you are gonna need 10 hexagons and 6 pentagons for one half of the ball. Let's keep the pieces for the second half aside for now and start with the first half. There is a specific way how things are gonna lay out, and it starts with the pentagon in the middle. Then 5 hexagons are aligned with the 5 sides of the middle pentagon. After that, remaining 5 pentagons will be placed in between the hexagons. 2 sides of one pentagon are aligned with the 2 sides of adjacent hexagons like this. I'm interchanging the color of pentagons next to each other just for the decorative purpose of it. After that, place the remaining hexagons in between 2 pentagons and also align with the hexagon above it. That'll be a total of 5 hexagons, and with that done, now you know where all the pieces go on one half of the ball. It'll be the same for the other half as well. A total of 16 pieces make one half of the ball, and now it's time to stitch all the pieces together. There is no particular order to stitch this, but you still need to keep this layout the same. What I would like to do is first take a picture of this layout so I know where things go, and I'm gonna go with the least complicated order possible. Thread your needle and make a knot at the end. I'm using 2 thread counts throughout this project. Starting with the middle pentagon, the first step is to sew 5 hexagons to 5 sides of the middle pentagon in one continuous step. I'm going to keep all the other pieces aside for a moment so we can get that part done. Take the middle pentagon and place one of the hexagons aligning its one side with any side of the pentagon like this. Felt fabric doesn't have any specific right or wrong side, so you don't have to worry about it. Now starting from one end of the 2 aligned sides, start to sew the 2 pieces together along the margin using the whip stitch. An important thing is keep the knots and remaining thread ends on the outside, which is on the same side I sew. You don't need to hide it in between the layers like we usually do. The reason for that is we are going to turn this entire project right side out at the end. So you are free to be messy on this side of the project. After you reach the other end of that side, take a second hexagon and continue sewing that to the next side of the pentagon like we did with the first side. It'll be the same steps after that. One by one sew 5 hexagons to the 5 sides of the middle pentagon. As I mentioned, I'm using the whip stitch for this part. You can also use blanket stitch as well. But I personally think whip stitch is easier. Now if you don't know any of these stitches, please follow our tutorials before starting this project and you'll be good to go. At this point, all 5 sides of the pentagon are covered and the next step will be sewing 5 hexagons to each other along their adjacent sides. I hope you remember I asked you to take a picture. Now if this feels confusing, make sure to refer to that picture from time to time. I still have plenty of thread remaining, so I'm going to continue along one of the 5 margins we need to sew. After you reach the other end of that side, make a couple of knots and securely end the stitch. For that, go underneath the last stitch and pull the thread until it forms a loop. Then go through the loop to make a tight knot. Finally, trim the thread short. Now if you are wondering, yes, I could have continued the sewing and attached the pentagon below it. But as I mentioned, I want this to be less confusing as possible. Therefore, my next step will be individually sewing the remaining 4 margins of the hexagons. Yes, you need to make a knot again, then whip stitch along the second margin, secure the thread, trim the thread short and continue that for another 3 times. As I mentioned in the very beginning, it's more like 32 felt pieces that test your patience. This project will be ideal for slow stitching day. You can even do this as a game. Get into 2 groups and each group can sew one half of the ball. Whoever completes first get the football, and not only that, the losing team has to sew the 2 halves together. What do you think? Now here's how it looks after all 5 hexagons are attached to each other. Next step will be much easier and you can continuously do that too. First take a pentagon and place it in between the space of 2 hexagons. Align 2 sides of a pentagon with 2 hexagons and sew along those margins. I'm only sewing along one margin just because I had remaining thread from the previous step. Now remind yourself of the original layout. After the pentagon, next will be a hexagon aligning with the hexagon above it. After that, a pentagon goes in between the space of the 2 hexagons, then again a hexagon and so on. One by one attach all the pieces according to the layout, and this will be an easy step because you can continuously do it. Now at this point, all the pieces are attached. But we still need to work on the last layer to attach each and every piece to its adjacent pieces. We have to do this step one by one individually, so it will take some time to sew 10 margins. In the meantime, go and check how the other team is doing with the other half of the ball. Now let me show you how one half of the ball looks at the end. All the pieces are fitted to each other nicely and I think it looks really good. We are only a couple of steps away and remember we still have to complete the other half of the ball to go forward. Now here is the other half and it's time to sew the 2 halves together. If you have the 2 halves in your hand, you can see that they perfectly fit each other like in a puzzle. The larger hexagons on one half go and fit with the small pentagons on the other half. You only have to align those sides with each other and then sew continuously with the same whip stitch until 3 sides are left unsewn. That is to turn the right side out. I'm leaving 3 sides unsewn, otherwise there won't be enough space for me to turn the right side out because this is a small ball. If you are making a bigger one, you might only need to leave one side unsewn. So it's for you to decide how much space is enough to turn the right side out. After you have sewed all the sides, except the space for turning the right side out, make a couple of knots to secure the stitch. Finally, trim the thread short. Next step is to slowly turn the right side out. There is no rush, so be careful not to damage any of the stitches while you are doing so. Now there is something I need to tell you. This is the way I choose to make a ball. But there is another way to do this project without turning the right side out, and it'll be even easier than this. It'll be the same steps, but you need to keep the knots and remaining threads hidden inside. You can stuff it at the end and close it as usual, and that's it. No turning right side out. That's totally okay and even will give you a more handmade look. Now this is my personal opinion. I think stitching everything and then turning right side out will give a more smoother finish to the ball. As you can see, there are no pointy ends and looks more professional. It's a personal choice. I just wanted to mention that as well. Now let's move on to the next step, which is stuffing. As usual, I'm using hypoallergenic polyester fiber fill, which you can buy in almost any craft store. Instead of filling a whole bunch of fiber fill at once, try to fill a small amount at a time. To maintain the shape, you need to fill it fully by pushing fiber fill to far ends, and you can even use a small blunt rod to reach the corners. Make sure you are not damaging anything while you are doing so. Keep filling the ball until you think it's enough, and after that we are only one step away from completing this project. The next and final step will be enclosing the opening we left, and for that you need to know how to do the ladder stitch. Ladder stitch is an invisible stitch that can merge two layers together without much of a trace. We have a separate tutorial on that, and I suggest you watch that tutorial first if you don't know how to do the ladder stitch. Now let me show you how to do one side, and you can then do the same with the other two. Thread your needle and make a knot at the end. First, align the two margins you need to sew. Then from one of the felt pieces, insert the needle from the back a little closer to its margin. Pull the thread all the way, and by doing so, you can nicely tuck in the knot inside of the ball. Then find the directly opposite point on the other felt piece closer to its margin and go back down at that point. And also at the same time, come up a stitch length away and pull the thread. Now keep repeating the same steps until you reach the other end of that side. As you can see, you are making parallel lines going forward, and this resembles steps in a ladder. Hence the name ladder stitch. When you reach the far end of that side, slowly pull the thread towards you and you will see the magic happen. It will enclose the opening without leaving any trace. Felt is a delicate fabric, so be careful when you pull the thread. Don't give too much tension on the fabric. After that, it'll be the same steps for the next two margins and the one after that. After you pull the thread for the last 2 margins, now it's time to securely end the sewing. For that, go underneath the last stitch or any of the stitches right next to it and pull it to form a loop. Then go through the loop and pull it all the way to make a tight knot. Make a second knot for a more secure stitch. Now instead of just trimming the thread here, you can insert the needle inside of the ball and then come through a little further away from where you made the final knots. Finally, pull the thread towards you and trim it. This will hide away the remaining thread end inside of the ball. Now at this point, our project is all done and this is how it looks. I hope this will be a fun project for yourself or even for a group of people. Change the felt colors to go with your favorite team and let me know what's the country you're rooting for. As always, thank you all for watching and supporting my channel. Please consider subscribing and I'll join you in the next one.